Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Digital Launchpad. So listen, there's a lot of fluff out there, but what you get with Digital Launchpad is a clear-cut path to cutting through the noise and getting what you want done. So listen, it is incredibly easy with the right direction to get into the top 10%. And I'm talking the top 10% when it comes to your income, when it comes to your health, when it comes to your attractiveness, all facets of your life. With a little bit of guidance, getting into the top 10% is relatively easy. Getting into the top 1%, I'm not gonna lie to you, that's a different story. And honestly, that's something that I can help you with later down the line. For right now, Digital Launchpad, it is your best friend. It is your toolkit to get into the top echelon of life. As I said, there is so much fluff out there, and I'm gonna be very honest with you. I genuinely do empathize with a lot of you as to why you're not where you want to be in life. Because you go on YouTube and one person is telling you to do this, one person is telling you to do that, one person is telling you that this business model is the best, one person is telling you that business model is the best, and all you need is one person to just talk honestly with you. And that's the cool thing, I can be very honest with you here in Digital Launchpad as to what works and what doesn't work, because the thing that worked for me won't necessarily work for you, and that's why we give you many different career paths and many different business models and many different options to get to where you want to get to. And specifically for Digital Launchpad, I'm going to spend just as much time talking about what you shouldn't do as what you should do, because what's happening right now is you're going on YouTube and you're thinking that there's some secret information, there's some secret podcast that you watched that the other knucklehead didn't watch, and that's why you're not where you want to be. When that is the farthest thing from the truth. For most of you, it's not what you're not doing. It's what you are doing that's keeping you shackled and keeping you where you are. Quite simply, you're not in the top 10% because you keep doing things that keep you at the bottom of the barrel. So it's actually this very sinister double whammy, because you keep doing things, you keep taking actions, you keep making steps forward, thinking that you're winning, thinking that you're making progress, when actually it's the thing keeping you stuck. So very quickly, I'm just gonna go ahead and fire off a few things that are keeping you stuck, and then we're gonna circle back to them later. First things first, being a YouTube self-help junkie is keeping you stuck. You don't need to watch another Iman Gadzhi video. You don't need to watch another Diary of a CEO podcast. You don't need to spend 30 minutes a day watching motivational TikToks. All of these things are great as long as you view them as entertainment, which is what they are. Then the next one is your circle of friends. Your circle of friends are keeping you stuck. I would much rather, and by the way, I was lonely coming up, rather than having friends that will pull you back to where they are. Because bear in mind, most of the time you're a reflection of another person's insecurities. So if you do well, for most people, they think that reflects very poorly on them. The next one, which is very taboo, but I have to say it, not having sexual mastery over yourself is keeping you stuck. Anytime that you face pressure or stress, you run away from it. Anytime that you feel any sort of pressure or stress, you go and do the do. Being afraid to give a compliment to a stranger when you go and get a coffee, that's keeping you stuck. Your inability to socialize with people, that's keeping you stuck. So listen, I don't want to rant much further. I want to start off with something very, very practical. And in fact, now I want you to pause this video. Pause it for however long you need. And keep your eyes closed. 30 seconds, 2 minutes, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, take as long as you need. And just really visualize, in 5 years, what does success look like to you in all areas of your life? Don't say that you want a Lamborghini. Don't say that you want a private jet. I'm talking about you as a person. I'm talking about your life as a person. That can mean material things and non-material things. And now what I want you to do is I want you to grab a pen and paper, and I want you to write down, what does success look like to you, and what actions would you need in order to get there? Because remember, in life, you can't control the outcome. I say this all the time. Listen, I've accomplished a lot of things in my life, but at the end of the day, some of it is luck, some of it is fate, some of it is the creator, whatever you want to call it. I know some people have different opinions on these things, but no matter what your opinion is, everyone knows that sometimes things simply aren't out of your hands. Now, what is in your hands is doing the best that you can and taking all the necessary actions and all the necessary steps in order to get your desired outcome. So all you can do is have the right guidance, execute on the right actions, and hopefully the rest should fall into place. Now that is a great exercise, and most self-help podcasts will tell you to do that. Visualize what you want, write it down, all that stuff. That's great. Let me talk to you about what is far more powerful now, because it's time to do the opposite. Once again, I want you to pause this video. Take 30 seconds, take 5 minutes, take 10 minutes, whatever you need. I want you to visualize, what does failure look like in 5 years? Now, when I say failure, I don't mean a train wreck, okay? So I don't want you to start visualizing you homeless by the side of the street, like not at that level. I'm just talking a life which is bearable, but is gonna be painful because it did not turn out the way you wanted whatsoever. You'll still have a roof over your head. You know, you're not gonna be in any physical risk, but a life that was a failure to you. And as I said, this is far more powerful than the first thing we did. So take 30 seconds, take a couple minutes, take however long you need, pause this video. So now what I want you to do is I want you to write down what did a mediocre life look like if you let your bad habits make the most of you. Write down what does that life look like and what actions did you take in order to guarantee a bad life, to guarantee that your life was a failure in your eyes. Now, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna share with you what I wrote down, because this is actually an exercise that I have done for nearly the past 10 years. And I even have it in old journals of mine back in 2014, 2015, these black, the black moleskin journals. I still have them at my house. And I will say every year it changes what success and what failure looks like to me. In 5 years, that is. But let me just show you what I wrote down. So here's what success looks like for me in 5 years. First thing I wrote down is bulletproof. Every move, every structure, every business, every investment is airtight. The main reason why most people are stressed is because there's uncertainty. Now, of course, in life, there's always going to be uncertainty. I told you this. But when you are very well prepared and when you always prepare for the worst, I know a lot of people look at me and they think, he's always so, anyone who knows me personally or works with me, sometimes I seem almost a little pessimistic, or I'm always thinking about what is the worst thing that could happen. I just like to be prepared because I sleep easy at night. So as my career progresses, for me, being bulletproof is one of the things that will make my life successful in 5 years. Next thing is fatherhood. I want to be an incredible father who is patient and present, be the father that I never had. Now, bear in mind, I grew up very, very early in all facets of my life. So maybe you may be watching this and you're 28 years old and being a father in 5 years is of no interest to you. Maybe, we're all different, but I want to throw that in there so that way it could be having a great relationship with your mother. It could be finding a romantic partner, whatever it is for you. Write it down. It's not just get a Lambo, buy a private jet. The next thing I wrote down is athlete. In 5 years, I'll be at my prime physically. In 5 years, I'm gonna be 28 years old. And when you're 28 years old, you're in your prime, which is why I wanna have my hardest physical challenges probably 5 years from now. Every year I set a tough challenge for myself physically. I wanna continue doing that. Next thing I wrote down is ambition. Keep the same crazy ambition that makes no sense whatsoever, but makes me who I am. And I can tell you right now that your ambition does not need to be my ambition. Within Digital Launchpad, I have found the smartest educators that you will ever get the chance to learn from. And I've put them inside of Digital Launchpad for basically free. I mean, this product is dirt cheap. This product is the same price as going out for dinner on a Friday. But what you're gonna learn inside of Digital Launchpad, this program, as well as all of the other mini programs that come with this, it's gonna set you off on your path to a high income career. And listen, you're gonna get to a point where you make your first $5,000 a month, your first $10,000 a month. And then from there, you can decide, do you have the ambition to take it to 100 grand a month? And we have the educators, we have the systems, we have the teachings to help you with that. And then you decide, do you want to take it to $1 million a month? And from there, you decide, hey, maybe I want to take it to $10 million a year or $30 million a year. The sky is the limit, but each of us have our own ambition. And that's why I wrote that there. Sometimes my ambition isn't the best thing for my mental health or my peace, but it just makes me who I am. It's like this spark I have. So that's why for me, success in 5 years means keeping that same ambition and keeping that same energy that I've always had from a young age, even before I had any material success. So that is what success looks like. Now, if I wanted to achieve that outcome, what are the actions that I need to take in order to get there? Listen, we both understand that you can't control the outcome, but you can control the actions you take in order to bend and in order to achieve the highest likeliness of achieving that outcome. So here are some actions. First things first, keep investing in the best legal counsel. Always study the game and be 5 moves ahead. That pertains to me wanting to stay bulletproof, to be airtight, to make sure that I'm always prepared for the worst, to make sure that all of my investments are airtight, all of my business ventures are airtight, that I do the correct due diligence before I buy any of the asset classes that I invest in. The next action is practice patience and compassion with my team, my employees, my friends, and my family in preparation for my future children. Because listen, I'm not a father, but I know that being a father means being patient a lot of the time. So might as well start practicing that as an action now. The next action to get there, set one big physical challenge every year for myself. And this is something I've been doing for a couple years. And The reason why is, for me, I like to have something to look towards. So the entire year I like to prepare for something, or half the year I like to prepare for something. So for this year, I'm running 3 marathons in 3 continents in 7 days. And that's what I'm preparing for right now. Next year, I want to have my first professional boxing match. The year after that, who knows? Maybe I might pick up golf. Sky's the limit. But the most important thing is, for me, I know that if I want to achieve that outcome of having a successful life and my life being a success in 5 years, I need to every single year set these big physical challenges for myself. The next action to get there: be extremely slow and calculated when buying an asset, investing in a business, or starting a new venture. Once again, this ties into the whole concept of being bulletproof and me wanting to be bulletproof, and that being something that I look at as a barometer for success in my life. The next one: continue to surround myself with real wealth and the secret door conversations that I frequent. Never allow myself to think I've reached the top. This is something I've done incredibly well in my life. I know that a lot of people in my age, after making tens of millions of dollars and continuing to make tens of millions of dollars every single year, will buy a bunch of flashy stuff, never continue to learn, never continue to educate themselves, and sit on their throne and think they're the king, when quite frankly, they're not. And that's why I like to surround myself. I call it real wealth, and you'll understand what real money is once you get around it. Step 1 is become rich. Step 2 is become wealthy. And really becoming wealthy is about, what do you have ownership in? What assets do you have ownership in? What companies do you have ownership in? And these are different rooms, and they're different conversations, and they're hard to get into these rooms. It's quite funny with a lot of online money people. They'll show off, what supercar do I have? And by the way, there's nothing wrong with that. But once you get into the real wealth circles, they flex by the fact that they have access to Singaporean banking. Some other people flex by buying a Lambo. Nothing wrong with it. It's all stages you need to go through. So moving on to failure in 5 years. Broke. I spent my entire portfolio. I took an empire and pissed it away. Single. I live a bachelor life, getting my fulfillment from how many women I can sleep with. Comfortable. I get lazy, complacent, happy with where I am in life. My physical health takes a toll, and I become overweight. Now for me, in 5 years, if those things happen, that is a monumental failure. If in 5 years I decide, you know what, let me just buy whatever I want to buy. Let my expenses match my income. Let me just ball out. Or you know what, let me even live above my means. That would be an absolute failure. To be in the position that I am, which, by the way, I will say, Digital Launchpad is your best friend in launching your high income career. Launching. Then you need to scale it. And eventually, once you've scaled it, then you need to maintain it. And I will say that maintaining it is by far the most difficult thing. And listen, by the way, go out, have your fun, do your thing. There's absolutely nothing wrong with it. But I have seen women and the pursuit for women ruin more great men on a great trajectory than anything else out there, than any other vice out there. So go out, have your fun, do your thing if that's the life path that you want, and just get out of your system. I'm sure you'll realize it's not all that it seems. And the last one is comfortable. And once again, this is another major killer that I see. I see a lot of people, and this is a really important lesson. I know I just talked about this. This is a really important lesson. Get this idea of passive income out of your head. There's no such thing as passive income. There's something called entropy. Listen, a business is like a car. In the first year, probably you're not going to have any problems. In the second year, you might have, a few small niggles. By the third year, if you're not doing, if you don't service it, if you don't check up on it, by the third year, even if it's a brand new car, it's probably going to be falling apart. That's exactly what it's like running a business. So just understand that there's no such thing as passive income. Everything faces entropy. You build a system, and the cool thing is, it's like kind of life in general. You can put in work now that buys you a certain amount of time, but at the end of the day, that work has an expiry date. And if you put your head down for the next year, that may buy you a year of kind of coasting and being comfortable, but at some point the work will come knocking on your door. And the issue is, most people, they get comfortable, so they get some success, then they get comfortable, and they just think that life will continue like that. And then when things start to fall apart, they haven't been trained, they're not comfortable, they don't want to put the work in anymore. So if I wanted to guarantee failure in 5 years, what are the things that I would do? Well, first of all, I would buy whatever I like. If I have the cash, buy it. Don't think, don't budget, just buy it. If you have the money, buy it. Don't think about it. What else? I would be stingy. Don't invest in counsel. Don't invest in guidance or coaches. Just think that I can do it all by myself. And the last action, if I want to guarantee failure, make women my focus. Women are my God, and they control my actions. And a lot of men are like this. A lot of men, all they care about is chasing tail. That's it. And by the way, listen, have your fun, do your thing, as I said. But just don't ever let that ruin your life. Like, just get your priorities straight. So now you know exactly what you have to do if you want to fail. And that's called inversion thinking. It's extremely powerful because in life, half of winning is just not losing. And this exercise is quite easy, and most people will find that it's a lot harder to think about what does success look like and what actions do you need in order to have your version of success. People actually find that a lot more difficult than writing down what does failure look like. Most people know what they want to run away from. Most people don't know what they want to run towards. And deciding on what actions you should take to guarantee failure is pretty easy for most people. Most people know that, hey, if I want to guarantee failure, I should do this. These are all bad things. Don't do these things. So the issue and the sinister thing is that some things you simply don't know what you don't know. And that brings us onto our next juncture. Because the last exercise we did basically unfucked your personal life. The last exercise we did made it clear, okay, don't do these personal life things. Don't take these personal actions unless you absolutely want to fail. But now let's go ahead and let's unfuck your career, because you could be doing everything right in your personal life, but you just choose the wrong career and you're done. Now listen, if you've chosen a career path in life because you genuinely love it and you don't care about being broke, well then, hats off to you, respect to you. If you've chosen those career paths, then that's a totally different story. But if you're here inside of Digital Launchpad, it's quite clear that you want to make money, that you want to be financially abundant. And you can't sit here and tell me that you want to start a dropshipping store because you're just so passionate about it, or that the main reason you want to have a sales career is because you just absolutely love being on the phone. My best recommendation to you is forget passion and focus on mastery. Because the thing is, what you are passionate about right now, you will not be passionate about in 30 years. But what you start mastering now, you will become a master of in 30 years. And I can tell you, when you're good at something, it doesn't matter if you've lost passion for it. When you're good at something and you know you're good at something, you always enjoy it because you're good at it, because you understand everything that you put into the craft to get to where you are. I can tell you that for some of you that have video game addictions, probably half the reason that you don't want to drop video games is because you've just gotten so damn good at the thing. You've gotten so good at video games that it's not even the fact that you can't stop playing them. Your brain is just thinking, but I've put so many hours into this. I'm like the best gamer out of all my friends. I don't want to drop this after everything I put into it. It's the exact same thing with your career. So before we get into what vehicle is right for you, and as I said, with Digital Launchpad, you have a beautiful taster menu and you've got this a la carte option. You can go watch the program on starting an agency, or the program on becoming a remote sales rep, or the program on being a copywriter, or any of the other programs that are either available now or coming in the future. You can watch these things and get this beautiful taster menu for the same price that you would have spent on some taster menu on a Friday night date. So it's amazing because you get true insight into all of these different business models with Digital Launchpad. But before we get into how to actually choose the right career path for you, I really just want to come in and dispel some myths about different businesses. Some businesses that probably seem so amazing, but you don't really know what's going on behind the scenes. And listen, as a person who has millions and millions and millions of subscribers and an audience and this and that, I know all these businesses behind the scenes, what's going on. I've had offers for all this crap. I can tell you what works and what doesn't. And some businesses don't work in the way that people think they do, but they work in a different way. So let me start off by talking about day trading, crypto trading, any stock trading, any sort of trading as a beginner. Any sort of business like that is absolute gambling. Absolute gambling. Listen, if you have $10,000, if you think about all the incremental trades you need to make in your first year for you to triple your money, the odds of that happening are so low as a beginner because you don't know how to manage your emotions. And you think about the best hedge funds out there. You think about firms that are returning 15%, 20%, and these are the best of the best in the market. And what, you think you're gonna bring in 300% as an absolute beginner when you're fighting against all these people? It's ridiculous. And you need to understand that pretty much all the influencers in that space, the way that they make their money is when you sign up to exchanges, they make money on what you lose. And listen, they're not dumb. These people wouldn't agree to these deals with these exchanges if they were out here thinking that as a net, as a whole, their audience would make money. They know their audience is gonna lose money because you guys are beginners. When you are a beginner, you should not be risking big chunks of money. It's absolutely ridiculous. When you are a beginner, there's so much you need to learn about business And more importantly, so much you need to learn about yourself, managing your emotions, picking the right thing for you. And that's part of the reason I created this digital launchpad, these 3 modules, because before I go ahead and show you all of these content for all these various different business models, I just needed to sit you down and have a conversation here and just get your expectations clear and tell you exactly what you need to do as a person to succeed with these things. So when you're a beginner in any sort of day trading, crypto trading, blah, blah, all that, stay away from. Forex trading, stay away from. And understand that these influencers living a lavish lifestyle, that all comes from their affiliate commissions and the affiliate money that they make when you sign up to these exchanges with all these ridiculous bonuses where your money isn't safe on these exchanges, and they get a percentage of the losses that you make. It's the exact same thing with all these streamers and influencers who take on gambling sponsorships. By the way, I've been offered multi 8 figures a year for those exact same things. I know the terms very well. I know all the stuff and all the crap that goes on in all these industries and all the ways that these influencers and these people you look towards are basically fucking you and making sure that you are stuck because you're not learning anything. You're not learning any tangible skills. They're telling you, oh, invest in this crypto thing and maybe 100x's. Okay, cool, but you haven't learned anything. Even if you are successful, you haven't walked away and learned anything. Then we get into e-commerce. Now, listen, there's a right way to do e-commerce and there's a wrong way to do e-commerce. If you have $5,000 to your name, do not risk $5,000 spending $5,000 on Facebook ads and potentially blowing all of the money that you have. You can most certainly make a lot of money with e-commerce. I know I even have a few e-commerce businesses and I've invested in multiple different e-commerce businesses. But once again, keyword there, invest. I put a lot of money into these businesses, or these businesses were already pre-running and I bought equity stakes or was offered equity stakes. As a pure beginner, these are not the right business models to get into unless you use free traffic. And once again, this is stuff we teach at Educate with the parent company, and I'm sure we'll even release some of that content here inside of Digital Launchpad as well. Amazon FBA, another sort of product e-commerce based offering. With Amazon FBA, again, you're gonna have to put a lot of money into it. That's fine. If you wanna spend $6,000 on getting everything off the ground, even just things like starting a company. The thing is, there's a lot of businesses out there. You don't need to start a company. You can just operate as yourself. From tomorrow, you can make money. That's it. And there's certain things, for example, like Amazon FBA, where you do need to start a company. Amazon is very specific. And I know because at the end of this month, I'm literally about to put 600,000 units, start off with 600,000 units of one of my new companies. So 600,000 units on Amazon. And there's a lot of due diligence. There's a lot of compliance that you need to get right. And by the way, if you have 10,000 in the bank and you want to do that, that's totally fine. But as an absolute beginner, just forget Amazon FBA. It's a business model that works, just in the same way e-commerce is a business model that works, but not for absolute beginners. And by the way, I even have a personal friend of mine that makes hundreds of thousands of dollars a year day trading, and that works for him. But he's not an absolute beginner and he had money going into it already. So now that you know behind the scenes of some of the most popular business models out there, at least you can make an informed decision of what is the right career path for you. And once again, it all depends on your life situation, your willingness to work, and your appetite, how much money you want to make, and how hard do you want to work in order to make that money. But the other thing you should do is you should pick the right career path based on your personality, based on your personal strengths and weaknesses. So here's where I want you to click the link below this video, and it's gonna take you to my personal favorite Myers-Briggs personality quiz. You're gonna go through this personality quiz, and at the end, you're gonna get a personality type. And each personality type will have affinity and will be more naturally suited for certain career paths. Now here's the thing, you could be a person that does everything right, but you just don't pick the right career path based on your strengths and your weaknesses. And obviously, listen, things can change. Of course, because I know I'm a hard worker, I could go into any industry and probably just make it work. But do I want to? Or should you? Should you just go into a career path that isn't suited to your strengths or your weaknesses when you could probably work just as hard in another industry and probably have 10 times the results because it's just your natural strength? So once you go ahead and you finish that personality quiz, then right below it, there's gonna be another link or potentially a download. And that's gonna show you exactly based on your personality type, what career paths are the best for you and which ones should you realistically avoid. Remember, if you wanna get ahead in life, for the most part, you should forget passion and instead focus on mastery, on picking something that you are naturally good at, you have the natural strength and the natural affinity towards, and just get really good at it. Because the people who focus on their passion, some days they're gonna wake up and they're not passionate about it. But your skills you will take for life. You know, some days I wake up and I'm not really that passionate, but you can't take away the 10 years of work that I've put into my businesses and as an entrepreneur, and you can't take my skills away from me. And let me tell you something, every time I sit down on my desk, or I have a meeting, or I'm chatting with my team, or I'm investing in a new business, or I'm partnering up and starting a new venture, I may not be passionate about it, but yeah, it feels damn good because I know that I focused on mastery. I know that I focused on mastering specific skills to get to where I am in life. So ladies and gentlemen, this video has been a little high level, but it needed to be. Because before you go into the rest of this product and you get the wealth of information from the other programs inside of Digital Launchpad as well that you get given, I really need some alone time to sit down with you so that way we could discuss what does success look like to you? What does failure look like to you? And really so I could just dispel some of the myths out there about what career path is the right option. And really just so I could triple down on the fact that in general, you should not focus on your passion. Instead, you should just focus on mastery. Now, over the years between my various different companies, I have collected a lot of data, a lot of very interesting data about what customers and what people are the most successful. You know, in my software companies, we can see that, hey, if this person does this and takes this action on the software within the first 30 days, then their lifetime value, their retention, you know, how long they continue using the software, it triples or quadruples, which is insane data for us to have as a software company. For the education business, we've also collected a lot of data. You know, at Educate, we have the SSCs, the Student Success Concierge. And they collect data on the successful people inside of Educate. What are they doing? What are they doing that it's attributing to their success? And I'm gonna tell you something here right now, and it's gonna seem so stupid. But we have found a direct correlation between the people who print things out and stick it on their wall and how quickly they start making $10,000 a month. So I'm gonna leave you with 2 wallpapers that you can put as your desktop wallpaper, so you can always see it there, but you can also print out and stick on your wall. You're also gonna get a mobile wallpaper version as well. And really, these are 2 things that I say all the time and need to be drilled down. The first being just put 1 foot forward in front of the other and then look back after a decade at what you accomplished. This needs to be a constant reminder to you that, listen, you're not gonna do what you wanna do in 10 weeks. You're gonna do a lot of what you wanna do in 10 months, but when you look back in 10 years, you will not believe what you accomplished. And if you want proof of it, I've been uploading on YouTube since I was a broke 15-year-old just trying to start a business to support him and his mom for 8 years. So there's documentation of it. There's proof of it. And the next printout is that, as always, I'm watching from afar and I'm rooting for you. And I want you to make sure that you print that and you stick that on your wall. And just remember, when you try to quit, or when you try to take the easy way out, or when you try to convince yourself that, hey, if I just watch one more YouTube podcast, that will be the thing that helps me. That will be the thing that guarantees success. And just remember that from the bottom of my heart, I'm rooting for you. I'm here. I want you to win. I want you to succeed. I am in your corner. And hopefully knowing that will mean that what we wrote down earlier about success in 5 years and failure in 5 years, just knowing that I'm here in your corner will nudge you a little bit closer to the side of success rather than failure. So with all that being said, in the next module, we're going to start implementing. We're going to start getting you on your monk mode protocol, and we're going to change your fucking life. So as always, I'm watching from afar and I'm rooting for you.